What is up, ladies and gents? In today's video, we're going to be talking all about Cardano. I'll be giving you my price predictions here for Cardano in the shorter term. So what might happen to it over the next few days to the next few weeks, as well as my longer term 2025 prediction here for Cardano and how high I think the price can go. So be sure to stay tuned for all of that. If you're a new subscriber here, then welcome to the channel. If you do like this content, then do not forget to subscribe and like. Of course, if you're a returning viewer, then welcome back. Don't forget to smash that like button for me. Of course, if you're looking for a great place to trade Cardano, then look no further than the MEXC exchange. Of course, there's a limited time offer here where they're giving every new user who deposits some money with them $20 free. So of course, if you do want to support the channel, use the link in the description down below, fill out your details here, deposit some money into your MEXC account and get that free $20. Of course, guys, thank you so much for supporting the channel. Let's get started on this video. So on the chart, we have Cardano here on the 1 day chart. So every single candle is 1 day. And since we've made this last video here on Cardano, we've kind of relaxed a little bit. We're consolidating within a very fine range here on Cardano at around the $1.10 level. Obviously, this spells only good news on the shorter term. This is exactly why I believe that. If we go on the 1 hour chart here, you can see that we have a resistance forming along like this, and indeed we have a support. Of course, this is actually a bull flag. If we have a look at that, we've got really steep green candles going up like this. We had a period of consolidation which trends downwards a little bit. This is a textbook bull flag. Of course, you can see for the resistance as well that it does marry up with the top of the candles very nicely. 3 solid tests over here. And there's a potential 4th one here as well. So 4 decent tests of that resistance there. We've got the support again, multiple tests in several different places here to suggest that the support is very well respected. And of course, from this pattern, we expect to see a very nice price target. Now, I really like these bull flags because the price target of them is actually the length of the flagpole going into them. Basically, the parabolic move that goes up to where the flag begins. And we just drag that out to where we might see a breakout. Now, of course, the target depends on where we break out, but let's say we break out over the next few days here on Cardano. That should bring the prices close to $1.40. Wherever we break out, that is a 26% trade here on Cardano. And I also like these bull flag patterns because they generally tend to happen quite quickly as well. So the parabolic move going into the flagpole should be kind of mirrored going out of it like this as well. Of course, if we do see some slow movement like this, for example, then the chances of failure are bigger. So generally speaking, if this pattern is to be respected, this move upwards should happen quite quickly. And I'm talking over the next few days, as you can see with the timeline below. Of course, things you want to look out for as well is if this pattern is to be respected, we want to see a lot of green momentum pushing the prices well above the resistance. We don't want to see, the price flirt with the resistance and ultimately disrespect it. Chances of failure are bigger. And of course, we don't want to fall below that support as well, because that would kind of invalidate the whole pattern. So short-term price movement, that's what I'm looking for. $1.40 ADA over the next few days could be in play here. Of course, the seasonality and everything is on our side as well. If we go back on the internet, you can see that from Bitcoin's monthly returns, so we're using Bitcoin just as a proxy for the whole crypto market. What I mean by that is that whenever we see a bullish or bearish move in Bitcoin, it generally tends to reflect throughout the rest of crypto as well, including Cardano. So Q1 right now is January, February, and March. And I say this is a bullish time for crypto because if you have a look at some of the gains for the Q1 of previous years, they have been absolutely nuts. So last year, for example, every single month was green. February and March particularly bullish there. In 2023, again, every single month was bullish, with January and March this time being the best performers. And in 2021, every single month did particularly well. Double-digit gains just for Bitcoin alone. So if there's ever a time to be bullish on crypto, in my opinion, now is the time. There's that bullish seasonality that should be pushing prices up. It has done very well already, 5% just alone in Bitcoin so far in January. And this should help, in my opinion, ADA make a move up like this. Now, of course, going back on the 1 day chart and just looking at this at a longer term perspective, let's just get rid of these drawings here so we can see it a little bit better. We can also see that ADA on the 1 day chart has actually broken out already from a pattern like looks like this. So another thing that is in play that I do believe I mentioned in my last video is a pattern that looks like this falling wedge here, which actually should add conviction to our shorter term trade there to $1.40, because the price target from this thing as well was roughly the same. If you look at where the breakout has actually already occurred, you can see price target sits at $1.38. So not only do we have that bull flag on the shorter term there, we also have this falling wedge breakout, which has already occurred, so it is already in play. That should take the prices to $1.40. So in my opinion, this trade, this 26% trade on the shorter term, has already 3 strong pieces of support here. To add to that as well on the MACD, if we have a look at the MACD on the 1 day chart, things looking very bullish here. We just got a bullish crossover on the 1 day chart, one of the better buy signals in my opinion. A crossover looks like this, where the 2 lines cross over, which means that the sentiment has the momentum of the price has gone from bearish to bullish. As you can see, after we broke out from this falling wedge, we saw the momentum shift bullish. And what this means is that when momentum is bullish, we should see prices continue to go higher. And so this is another reason of support for the fact that we could see ADA reach that level. Now, of course, once it does reach that level, I do believe it's going to continue going up. And this kind of feeds into my longer term plan here on ADA, because of course, ADA does have a tendency to repeat itself. And what I really like from ADA is that it has a tendency to follow a similar blueprint every 4 years. So if you have a look at this price action here in 2024, basically we saw a parabolic rise there going into the first peak. We saw a bit of a slump before making a newer high from that previous high there. And then after that, we saw a general slump downwards. Now, if you look at the price action in 2019, there's an eerie similarity over here in the price action. You saw a parabolic move up. That's first high there. We saw a general slump before seeing a second high made. And after that, we saw again a massive slump downwards. Now, and of course, after that slump, what we saw were prices beginning to rise. We only had 2 real dips here on ADA. One of them was caused by COVID, as you can see. But generally, from the start of January 2020, there you can see that ADA was in this upwards mode only, and that didn't end until 2021, May 2021 there. So it has a period of a long green curve heading upwards. Now I believe that's already started, triggered by the US elections there, where we have this steep bullish pattern that we are following. Of course, what this could look like is, with that $1.40 target in the short term being met, we start to see prices continuing to rise. First and foremost, hitting the previous all-time high in Q1 2025. Like I say, there's plenty of reasons to be bullish. And of course, maybe over the summer, as is typical for the whole of crypto, we see some sort of summer slump. So maybe we see prices hit $3, and then over the summer we see a bit of a retracement in general before hitting the final price target in Q4 2025. And that price target that I'm looking at is the $7 mark. So I'm just going to put a magnet there because I want to manifest at least $7 here on ADA. That's not to say it can't go higher. This is where I am looking for the price to go at the minimum for ADA. Now, some of the reasons for that is because obviously, first and foremost, if we have a look at the 2017 high and the 2021 high, and we just drag, the output, and we just drag that difference here to 2025, that takes the price there to roughly $7.50. So that's one of the reasons. Of course, at the moment as well, if we have a look at the MACD, this time on the 1 week chart, we can see that we're clearly in the green. But if you have a look at the bullishness in 2021, we're nowhere near those levels yet. We are bullish, and so there's nothing here suggesting that we should be bearish anytime soon on ADA. But of course, in the long term, we would expect to see the MACD at least climb to close to where it was in 2021. So if it does something like this, for example, before doing that double peak thing and then going back down, for example, this should translate to the prices making its next parabolic move up here on ADA. So this is another thing that's really keeping me going. Now, another thing that could take us to these heights as well is a pattern that I've been monitoring. If I just get rid of all of that so you can see, is that if we draw a trend line going across like this over the price of ADA, we see some kind of pattern that resembles a sort of double bottom, something that looks a little bit like this. For example, of course, the resistance going across is the neckline, and if we see something like this where the prices do get to 140 and break out above this trend line, then we could see this pattern in play, and I would expect the price target from this pattern to be the length from the very bottom of the price there all the way to where this resistance is. And if we do break out to the upside from that, it gives us a price target there of $5.31. It's just another part of what I'm monitoring here on ADA in general, and of course this would be confirmed once we do break that level there where the resistance is at the moment. So if you do want to track it and trade it, then do draw that on your graph, because of course the breakout price depends on where we break out in time. But the price target from that should be a 250% trade, so could be potentially interesting to monitor. And of course, resistance here is a very strong one because it's been going across the ADA price for a while now. And lastly, I want to show you one more bit of evidence that's giving me a lot of conviction here in general on Cardano, and it's the fact that on the total crypto market cap, we've broken out of this beautiful pattern. This is a cup and handle pattern. It's a bullish pattern that's been formed over 3 years on the total crypto market cap, and it's recently broken out. You can see that connecting the 2021 high to the 2024 high, we get this beautiful cup shape here. We get this consolidation, which is called the handle, and we've got this beautiful breakout from the handle there, giving us a price target or a market cap target there of $8.8 trillion. And why this is important is because obviously for the whole cryptocurrency market, that's roughly a 2.5x to where the current market cap stands. So if this represents the total crypto market cap, we can expect on average cryptos to 2.5x before they reach their peak this cycle. Now, of course, if we believe that ADA is only average, I do believe ADA is above average, because we have seen a lot of outperformance in 2025 so far and in 2024 after the presidential win. So I do believe our ADA will outperform the average. But let's just say ADA does perform the average, then at the very minimum we should see a 2.5x, which brings the price to roughly $2.72. So at the very minimum, we would expect ADA to come close to its 2021 all-time high, just based on the market averages. Of course, my price target stays at $7, but this gives me a lot of conviction that we should see a lot of cryptos rise in general, and kind of gives us a baseline price target for what we can expect for ADA in 2025. So it gives me a lot of conviction in general for prices to continue rising from where they are right now. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say here on ADA. So do let me know down in the comments below if you're holding ADA. Let me know what your price targets are for 2025. And otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.